Ghost wedding in summer fog. My friends were forever taken by the 1923 curse. It's been 3 years to the day, and I'm sitting here with a mug of cold chamomile tea, staring at the empty spot on my couch where Jake used to flop down every Sunday to watch terrible reality TV. Lena's favorite blanket is still draped over the armrest, knitted with pink and purple stripes, the edges frayed from her constant fidgeting with the yarn. I reach for it sometimes, run my fingers over the loops, and half expect to smell her vanilla lotion. But it's just the faint scent of dust now. They're gone, and I still lie awake at night replaying that summer, wondering if I'd screamed louder, if I'd tackled Jake to the ground instead of just standing there, if things could have been different. Let me start from the beginning, because if I don't tell it right, it sounds like one of those dumb horror stories you find online at 2 a.m. But this is real. Every bone-chilling second of it. That July was brutal, 95 degrees every day, humidity so thick it felt like breathing through a wet washcloth. My apartment didn't have AC, just a rickety box fan that blew hot air around and made so much noise I couldn't sleep. Jake lived in the same building, 2 floors up, and Lena was across the street. So we'd taken to crashing at Mrs. Vasilei's place every evening. She was our neighborhood lifesaver, an older gypsy woman with silver hair braided down her back and hands covered in silver rings that clinked when she moved. Her house was the only one on the block with central AC. She swore it was blessed by the old ones, whatever that meant, and she always had something baking in the oven. Peach pie was her specialty, flaky crust, sweet peaches, a little sprinkle of cinnamon that made your mouth water before you even took a bite. We'd shown up around 7 that night, all sweaty and complaining. Jake had a 6-pack of lemonade tucked under his arm. Lena had brought a bag of gummy bears, her go-to snack for any situation, and I'd grabbed the deck of cards we used for our weekly poker games. Mrs. Vasilei let us in with a warm smile, wiping flour off her hands on her apron. Come in, tea's just brewed." Her kitchen was like a time capsule. Floral wallpaper peeling at the corners, a wooden table with a cracked formica top that had been there since I was a kid, a shelf above the stove lined with mason jars full of herbs, rosemary, lavender, something that smelled like pine. The radio was playing old jazz, scratchy but comforting, and the AC hummed softly in the background. We crammed around the table, Jake and Lena bickering over who got the last slice of pie, me sipping tea and watching Mrs. Vasilei stir a pot on the stove. It was perfect, the kind of night you wish you could bottle up and keep forever. Then the music started. At first, I thought it was the radio. Maybe Mrs. Vasilei had changed the station without me noticing. But no, this was different. It was outside, distant but clear enough to make out each instrument. Drums, slow and heavy, like someone hitting a barrel with a stick. A violin, its notes sharp and mournful, like it was crying. And voices, faint and ethereal, singing in a language I didn't recognize. It sent a shiver down my spine, even in the warm room. Mrs. Vasilei froze mid-stir. The spoon clattered against the pot, and she stared at the sliding glass door leading to her backyard, her face going pale. I'd never seen her look scared before. She was the kind of woman who'd chase off a stray dog with a broom and laugh while doing it. But now, her hands were shaking. "Don't go out," she said, her voice so quiet I had to lean forward to hear it. Her eyes didn't leave the door. Jake snickered, leaning back in his chair and propping his feet up on the table. Mrs. Vasilei normally would have swatted them away, but she didn't even notice. "Relax, Mrs. V. It's just some kids messing around. Probably the Miller boys from down the street. They're always pulling stupid pranks. Bet. They got a Bluetooth speaker and a violinist friend or something." He stood up, already heading for the door. "Come on, I'll go tell em to cut it out. They're probably scaring the whole neighborhood." "No," Mrs. Vasilei snapped, lunging forward and grabbing his arm. Her grip was surprisingly strong, like iron, even though her fingers were thin. "You can't. They don't like intruders. They'll take you." Lena, who'd been munching on gummy bears, stopped mid-chew. She twisted the ring on her finger, a gift from her grandma. She never took it off, and bit her lip. "Jake, maybe we should listen to her. The music, it doesn't sound right. It's too old." But Jake was already pulling away. "You guys are being drama queens. It's just a prank. I'll be back in 5 minutes, and you'll both feel stupid for being scared." He nodded toward the door. "You coming, Lena? Or are you gonna stay here and hide with Mia?" Lena hesitated. She looked at me, then at Jake, then back at Mrs. Vasile, who was staring at her with pleading eyes. I'll come with you, she said finally, standing up. She didn't sound sure, but Jake was her best friend. She'd follow him anywhere, even if she knew it was a bad idea. Don't, Mrs. Vasile cried out, her voice breaking. Please, Mia, stop them. I froze. I wanted to. But Jake was already pushing open the sliding glass door, the music flooding in louder now, and Lena was right behind him. I ran to the window, my heart pounding so hard it felt like it was going to burst out of my chest, and watched them cross the backyard. The grass was wet from the evening dew, and their shoes squelched as they walked toward the empty lot beyond Mrs. Vasile's fence. That lot had been empty for as long as I could remember. When I was a kid, we'd play there sometimes, hide and seek among the weeds, tag around the broken fence, but Mrs. Vasile had always told us to stay away after dark. Bad things happen there, she'd say, but we'd just laugh and think she was being silly. Now, as I looked at it, I realized why she'd warned us. The moon was full, casting a silver glow over everything, but the lot was shrouded in a thick, swirling mist, thicker than any fog I'd ever seen. It didn't just lie on the ground. It moved, coiling and twisting like smoke. And in the middle of that mist, figures. Dozens of them. They were slow, swaying back and forth like they were dancing to a song only they could hear. Some were tall, some short, some looked like men, some like women. But none of them were right. One had only one arm, the sleeve of its tattered shirt flapping empty as it moved. Another's head lolled to the side, like it was disconnected from its neck. A few floated an inch off the ground, their feet never touching the grass, their bodies semi-transparent, like smoke shaped into human form. I rubbed my eyes, thinking I was hallucinating. Heat exhaustion. Maybe. But when I opened them again, they were still there. At the center of the circle stood two clearer shapes. A man in a faded black suit, his tie askew, his hair slicked back like it was from another era. A woman in a white wedding dress, her veil tattered and yellowed with age, her hands clasped in front of her. They stood still, facing each other, while the others circled them, clapping in time to the drums. It wasn't a violent scene. It was just sad, like a memory that couldn't let go. It's their wedding again, Mrs. Vasile murmured, standing beside me, her voice hollow. She was crying now, silent tears streaming down her face. Every 7 years, on the night they were supposed to marry, they come back to finish what they started. Who are they? I whispered, my throat tight. The Petrov couple, Ivan and Alara. Funny, isn't it? Same name as me. She gave a bitter laugh. They were gypsy, like me. Came here from Romania in 1923. They saved up for years to have their wedding here, in that lot. They rented a tent, bought decorations, invited everyone from the neighborhood. But then the storm hit. Tornado force winds, hail the size of baseballs. The tent collapsed under the weight of it. Ivan and Alara were crushed under the poles. Half their guests too. They never got to say their vows. Never got to dance. Never got to be married. She paused, wiping her eyes. So they keep trying. Every 7 years, they come back, and they relive their wedding night. But they're not just ghosts, Mia. They're hungry. They need more guests. More people to join their wedding. Forever. Jake and Lena were almost to the mist now. Jake was yelling something, probably telling the pranksters to knock it off, but his voice was swallowed up by the music. Lena was hanging back, her hands in front of her like she was scared to touch the fog. Then, suddenly, the music stopped. Everything went quiet. Even the crickets stopped chirping. Every figure in the mist turned toward Jake and Lena. All at once, their heads snapped around, their semi-transparent faces empty but somehow focused. The mist thickened, swirling around them like a living thing, coiling around their ankles, their waists, their necks. I saw Lena grab Jake's hand, her mouth open in a scream that never reached my ears, like the air itself was swallowing the sound. Jake froze, his eyes wide with terror, his face pale as a sheet. He tried to pull Lena back, but it was too late. The mist wrapped around them completely, hiding them from view. For 1 second, just one, through the white fog, I saw Jake's hand reaching out, his fingers spread like he was begging for help. Then the mist cleared. They were gone. No footprints. No clothes. No sign that they'd ever been there. The only thing left was the empty lot and the phantoms, who'd gone back to their circle, the music starting up again as if nothing had happened. The bride and groom stood at the center, still facing each other, like they hadn't even noticed Jake and Lena were gone. Mrs. Vasile and I ran outside, screaming their names. I tripped over the fence, scraping my knee, but I didn't even feel it. I dropped to my knees in the grass, feeling for any sign. Footprints, a piece of clothing, a gummy bear wrapper, anything. But the grass was just wet and cold. Mrs. Vasile stood beside me, sobbing, her hands clasped together like she was praying. I called the police, my hands shaking so hard I could barely dial the number. They came within 10 minutes. 2 squad cars, their red and blue lights flashing, lighting up the neighborhood. Officer Henderson, who'd known me since I was a kid, took my statement, his face serious but skeptical. "Mia, are you sure you didn't see them go anywhere else? Maybe they went home." "I'm sure," I yelled, tears streaming down my face. "They were right there, and then the mist took them. You have to believe me." They searched the lot with flashlights and K-9 units. They checked the surrounding streets, the woods behind the neighborhood, even the abandoned warehouse a mile away. But they found nothing. No trace of Jake or Lena. Their parents came over later that night. Jake's mom crying, his dad staring at the lot like he couldn't process what I was saying. Lena's grandma clutching her hand, asking over and over if I'd tried calling her again. I showed them my phone. The screen dark, no missed calls, no texts. They didn't believe me at first. No one did. They thought I was grieving, that the heat had made me hallucinate. But as the days turned into weeks, and then months, and still no sign of them, the neighborhood started whispering. People crossed the street to avoid me. Kids stopped playing in the lot. Mrs. Vasile started keeping her curtains drawn all the time. I moved out of my apartment a year later. I couldn't stand being there anymore. Every time I looked out the window, I saw Jake and Lena crossing the yard, heading toward the lot. But I still visit Mrs. Vasile every Sunday. We sit in her kitchen, drink chamomile tea, and talk about the old days, before the music, before the mist, before everything changed. She tells me the music comes more often now, not just every 7 years. Every few months, on quiet summer nights, she hears the drums and the violin, and the circle of figures is bigger. "I saw them last month," she said to me a few weeks ago, her hands shaking as she poured me tea. Jake and Lena. They were in the circle, holding hands. Jake was wearing that stupid hoodie he loved, the one with the pizza on it. Lena had her hair in a ponytail, just like she always did. They were smiling, Mia, just like they used to. But their eyes, they were empty. Like there was nothing inside them anymore. Just part of the wedding. Part of the mist. Last night, I was lying in bed, reading a book, when I heard it. Faint at first, but getting louder. Drums. Violin. Voices. I froze, my blood turning to ice. I ran to the window, pulled back the curtain, and looked out. There was no mist in my backyard, no figures, nothing. But I could hear it, clear as day, like it was right outside my door. I buried my face in my pillow, covering my ears, but I couldn't block it out. And in my mind, I saw them, Jake and Lena, standing in that circle of ghosts, smiling, empty, dancing to a song that would never end. I whispered their names, even though I knew they couldn't hear me. I apologized, even though I knew it didn't matter. I don't know what they are. Spirits? A curse? Something beyond explanation? I don't have answers. All I know is that some stories aren't just stories. Some horrors are real. And if you ever find yourself on a quiet summer night, hearing distant music that doesn't belong, seeing mist that moves like it's alive, don't be brave. Don't be curious. Don't be stupid. Just stay inside. Lock your doors. Draw your curtains. Because some weddings never end. And some guests never leave.